used gun market, there are all kinds of amazing values, and it took me a while to get here, but finally I've got the Parker Hales that I wanted to show you probably a year ago or more. These rifles are so excellent and such a phenomenal value. It hasn't changed all that much. When I say it, I mean the price and perception of Parker Hales, but we'll start with their Mauser action. In some markets they're called safari models, and you'll have to judge from the appearance of the rifle, depending on what country you're in, what model it might be called in your market. But here it's called a safari, and you can see I don't know that there'd be anybody that would say this is like a $450 or $500 rifle. It's got a terrific walnut stock, has a Mauser action. It's a Santa Barbara Mauser action, so that means it was made in Spain. I'm pretty sure about that. I actually looked for markings, but it's hard to tell. But the Parker Hales are usually Santa Barbaras. We'll flip it around this side. This is called a rolled over comb or cheek piece. Some people like them, some people don't, but when you're paying that little for a rifle, it really doesn't matter. This is not a refinish, and it's not hard to find Parker Hales in close to this condition. I do have to say this one's exceptional. It's a 30-06. Everything else about it is probably familiar to you. It's got a Mauser bolt, so you'll never have any problems with it. And in this particular Parker Hale, it's virtually flat new. The bore, I doubt that this has been fired much. I checked the bolt face. Yeah, I just think somebody bought it and stored it away. And like I said, it's not hard to find these. Now in contrast, for more money, you could buy this rifle, which is a Savage Axis, and you could read really good reviews. I think we looked at this rifle, and I think I even had this one at the range. It's a 308 it's a 30-06 as well. And I mean, it's a typical modern rifle. The Parker Hale barrel is threaded directly into the receiver. The Savage is as well, but it has this adjustable locking nut. The action is not bad. Typical modern ejection port. It has, I looked at this just before filming, not a bad magazine. That's the Savage Axis magazine, and I forgot to show you this. This Parker Hale is a clip model, and that's the Parker Hale magazine. The Parker Hale's all steel, and the Savage does have some sheet metal, which I would say is steel, and then polymer on the bottom. Most of the things that you see on the Remington 783, the Savage Axis, the Mossberg new products, all of them are attempts to make accurate rifles that work reasonably well at the lowest possible cost. With Parker Hales and these used rifles that I show you, you tend to get a very high quality product compared to the newer versions, and that's, you know, a function of inflation and the cost of labor and all kinds of other things that we probably don't need to go into. But since I was talking about Parker Hales and their excellence, and by the way, they are marked Parker Hale right on the barrel if you're looking for one. They came in 308. I've had them in every caliber: 308, 243, 6.5 by 55. Long time ago I had a 7 by 64. Not one of them wasn't excellent. It would actually be very hard to find something negative to say about these rifles. You can see the gold-plated trigger, and I forget what I just saw in there. It wasn't the Mauser trigger. It's some kind of Parker Hale version of a more modern trigger. And when I say more modern, I don't know when that rifle was made. Maybe in the 70s or 80s. But since I was on the subject of Parker Hales, and in that vault, I thought it's only fair if I show you a couple of other Parker Hale products. And if you didn't have $400 or $500, but you wanted, in some ways, a better rifle than anything on the table, is this is a Enfield number 3, Mark 3, and it's rear locking. You can see where it locks here on the back of the receiver. So some people talk about case stretch and things like that, but that's an entirely different subject. That has more to do with whether you're full-length resizing or what have you with reloading. Very simple to operate. You've seen this before. You simply slip that out of the way and the bolt comes out, and reassembly is the same. And I have another one on the table that I thought I better show you, because this may or may not be, this is just me fumbling, not the rifle. This may or may not be a Parker Hale buttstock. It sure looks like a factory stock, but there's a small chance that there isn't one, and somebody out there might write and say that's a different stock. The checkering matches, so I would say it probably is, but I see more of these, the typical Monte Carlo stock Parker Hale, and you can see on the butt plate that it says Parker Hale. And these are generally, let's say, 2-minute of angle rifles, but a lot of them shoot better than that. There's nothing wrong with them. This one came with a wonderful scope base. This, I believe, takes the BSA. No, it takes the Parker Hale rings, and it has the big Mark III rear sight, which doesn't matter. And then in this one, they didn't mill this stripper clip ring off the receiver. On this one they did, so it looks a little bit more sleek. And you'll find all kinds of things on used rifles, like somebody drilled and tapped for a side mount here, but these things, they generally don't mean all that much in terms of the accuracy and serviceability of the rifle as a hunting weapon. I couldn't say, again, much wrong with these, and they're amazingly cheap. You can go and get these for like $200, somewhere in there, and 303 British is so close to 308. It's remarkable. If you wonder about this magazine, some people ask me, why do you bring out these things? So this one, just I have a few magazines, as you can imagine, and I just brought this one. I put it in this rifle. Sometimes one or another magazine will run better for whatever reason. It usually has to do with the feed lips, but I don't study it. So this one runs very well, so I just leave it in the rifle because it works so well. Other than that, there isn't much more to mention. There were some other Parker Hales that were based on the ZG47 Verno. There were some BRNO. There were some that were based on regular Mauser 98 actions and not the Santa Barbara. And I've seen some Parker Hale Midland rifles. I had a couple of those that were based on the Springfield action. They're all good. I haven't had a bad one. Obviously, the best and most attractive buy is the Santa Barbara Mauser that I showed you first. If you can get a hold of one of these, you have a home run purchase. If you like the clip model, and they may even have that on the barrel, depending on the specific rifle. It may say Parker Hale Safari C or something like that. I don't mind the floor plate versions, because I've told you a few times I actually like floor plates. You won't lose your floor plate. But anyway, there it is, Parker Hale, made in the United Kingdom. Just a perfect hunting rifle. I guess labor costs got too high in the UK, or laws changed, I'm not sure which. The Lee Enfield sporters, the Mark III, and you can find Mark IVs. I even have a Jungle Carbine sporter, but not made by Parker Hale, by another independent company. And other companies made these. Globe in the States, California, I think they were made. Anyway, all kinds of things done with these because they were so common. But there it is. Took a long time to get here, like I said, but not to repeat myself, exceptional buys, and I would sooner buy a used Parker Hale than most of these newer rifles. I don't think they're made to last very long, the new rifles, but while they're alive, they work well. And the Axis gets excellent reviews and excellent accuracy. Anyhow, just my opinions as usual. Thank you very much for watching, and I guess we're seeing more of you on Instagram, which I appreciate and helps the channel. And as always, if you can join me on Patreon, even better. And we'll see you on the next video. Take care.